Brother, you have not grunted for any other one.
Well, hey there, hobby homesteaders. Welcome back to Peak's Peak. My name's Lucas. We're sharing our hobbies on 38 acres in eastern Kentucky, and today we're pouring a footer for our tiny house. There you go. I was a little intimidated about pouring a footer. I mean, it's hard labor, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, it's not rocket science. Working like a man, working like a man, working like a man.
And now I'm tired.
Now we ended up with ground that was still a little too soft to bring a concrete truck all the way to the house side. So we had to rent a bobcat to move the concrete from the truck to the footer. First thing I had to do was cut us some rebar pins about 20 inches long so that we could drive them in the ground for our grade pin. Now to start off, we had the excavator dig out a square about 3 foot diameter larger than the perimeter of the house. That way you have room to get down in there and work, to put the footer, to lay the block, and then you can backfill once it's all completed.
FYI, I am filming.
Now while we were measuring and laying out for the outer perimeter of the footer, Shane was actually practicing with the bobcat because he doesn't normally run foot controls, and when we're hauling concrete with it, we didn't want to pour it out on the ground. All right, boys, we got the job in full swing now. Got all the equipment up here, got the brains of the operation over here laying out the footer. Pretty exciting business going on this morning. I got to run the bobcat, had no idea what I was doing. Foot controls on the bucket is a mess. So Ed's gonna lay our block for us, and he offered to come and help us lay out the footer. Now, of course, you know, his job depends on the footer being square and level and everything being the way it ought to be, so it makes his job easier. So he come out today and he's helping us lay it out. And you know, the only way I've ever squared anything up was with batter boards, but he's driving stakes and stretching strings and measuring 3, 4, 5 and the diameter and all that, and getting it all laid out. So we're just about to start digging the footer. Now, one thing that we've figured out is because the Peak's Peak hill is so steep, we can't bring a full concrete truck up the hill because it's probably gonna spill concrete out the back. I don't want to take any chances, so I'm gonna order 2 4.5 yard loads to get our 9 yards up here, and yeah, I think that'll get us by without making a mess. Plus, it'll make it easier for the trucks to climb the hill with a little bit less weight in them. So we decided to go with a 2 foot wide footer, and we're gonna make it 10 inches thick. That way we got a big footprint, so shouldn't have any failures. That's what they recommended to be the best bet because of the soil we've got. So should make a nice solid foundation.
Footprint.
But you've marked the line.
Who's Mark?
We're at 54 feet. Yeah, you want 53.4.
So what we're doing now is setting our grade pins in the corners. And to square up our footer, we want to set the outside corners to the outside perimeter of the footer itself, which is going to be 24 inches wide. So that's 8 inches on the outside of the block, 8 inches for the block, and then 8 inches on the inside of the block. So the outside perimeter of our footer will be 17 foot 4 inches by 53 foot 4 inches. And if you use a squared plus b squared equals c squared, you'll get your diagonal measurement, which comes to 56.075 or 56 foot and 15/16 of an inch. We need to move both of those pins about 6 inches this way or so. We've got her set at 17.4 and 53.4. All right, we got her squared up. He's making the first cut for the footer. And what we did was we painted a line and we squared this up on the outside edge of the footer. I guess there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Now, when it comes to digging the footer, you actually want to go more than your 10 inches deep because you want to have enough sidewall that none of your concrete's going to spill out on any of the low points of the elevation. So we found the low point and we set our transit at 12 inches. That way our footer is 12 inches deep all the way around. And then we can set our 10-inch grade pins inside of the footer. Now, that's something I never really thought about, but when he gets in position, he'll swing the body of the excavator around, and then he'll test run and make sure that he's in line with it and gets a good straight, and then he just pulls straight back. I think he's done this a time or two. All right, now I got to put a plug in here for my buddy Randy, because he just opened up a business. In fact, they're not even open yet. He brought us one of their very first rental machines. He's opening a rental business in Greenup, Kentucky. It's called Circle K, and I'll put a picture of his card on the screen here so you can check it out if you're anywhere in the Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia area and you need to rent equipment. He's gonna have the best prices around for rentals. He dropped this off last night because the Kubota broke down. Kubota, 2,800 hours on it, already had the motor replaced, and now the final drive went out last night. So Randy dropped off this Bobcat, and Shane's not thrilled about it because it has foot controls for the bucket, and that's not, if you're not used to running that, it's not natural. At least it's not for me. I tried it this morning and I was a mess. The footer is dug. We've got grade pins in the four corners, got a line stretched across there. We're driving grade stakes in right now. We'll be setting up the rebar. We've got 2.5 hours to get our rebar set before the first concrete truck shows up. So I think we're gonna make it as long as I put the camera down and start helping. Now Shane decided to switch out and put their bucket on the Bobcat because it's got a longer reach. And it's gonna be reaching out over the edge of this hole to pour the concrete. So at this point, we have the 4 corner grade pins driven down to the 10-inch mark and a string stretched across them so that we can just use the string as our elevation all the way across. And then I'm driving 2 stakes about 16 inches apart so that we can put a crossbar and lay 3 rows of rebar down on top of that. We used wire tie, and we set those crossbars about 4 or 5 inches below the top grade. That way the rebar is in the middle of the concrete.
Brother, you have not grunted for any other one.
Listen, I have to show off for the camera and make it look like it's hard. So we're going to tie these on here with what's called a saddle tie. So you go over the top, come up underneath, twist them around, take your pliers, grab a hold of it, pull her down tight, twist her down, clip her off. And now, tie it on there good and tight. We just do that to every one of these all the way around. So here's what our final rebar layout looked like after we got it all laid in and ready for concrete. Well, the concrete truck ought to be rolling in any minute now. Might be interesting to see him come up the hill. I don't know, I've thought about going down there so I could watch. But he's bringing half a load, so hopefully it won't be no issue. I think we're all set. Ed had a good plan. We got the rebar all laid out, and we're gonna have us a nice 10-inch footer. I think this is gonna be a solid foundation. Truck driver wasn't liking it. It did fine, but he wasn't wanting to do it. Yeah, he did a fine job. No slipping. The road is solid. I mean, he didn't even leave tracks, so that makes me feel good. But yeah, we only brought 4.5 yards on this first run to make sure we didn't spill it out. So we're splitting it up into 2 loads like that. That worked good. I think probably we'd have been all right with 7 or 8, but that wasn't going to get us all anyway. We needed 9, so. get the edge of it under there, just pull that rebar, not too hard. There you go, that's perfect. Good job.
Thank you.
You like that?
Yeah, I want to do it every time. Oh!
All right, you did good. Keep her in the hole. There you go.
Oh, get that.
Real good. Dale's catching you. He's over on your side now. What are you doing? All right. You got to get to them stakes there, bud. Get you a big rake pull. There you go. Pull it all over there. Watch the end of your rake. Caden, right up under, right there. Yeah, right. Stop right here. Grab that batch right there. Drag it right here. There you go. Try not to grab the dirt. I was a little intimidated about pouring a footer because I'd never done it before, never seen it done, didn't know how to do it, didn't know what we were gonna get into. But honestly, I mean, it's hard labor, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, it's not rocket science, laying out your rebar and all that. Now that I've seen it done, I think I could do it. Now, you gotta have some good help on hand because all of us worked pretty hard, but none of us had to work too hard because there were enough of us to get the job done. But, you know, using our grade stakes and floating that concrete out, we poured the second half of it a little bit wetter, which made it easier. We didn't want to go too wet, but I think honestly the part I was most nervous about was the concrete trucks coming up the hill. And the very first driver pulled in and he was like shaking his head. I don't know, man, he didn't like it. But the second guy showed up and he said, oh, I've done way worse than that. And he said we could probably come up the hill with about 8 yards max. But he said if we ordered a front dump truck, then they could haul 10 yards up here. So when we get ready to do the garage, he said he would let them know that my hill's good for a front dump, and he said they'd be able to get all the way back in here and we'd be golden. So good information, and now that we've been through it, I know it can work, and yeah, nobody got hurt, so that was good. I mean, I didn't want to put anybody in a dangerous spot, but you know, I was telling the guy, I was like, man, it's a solid road, and if you can bring a concrete truck full of concrete up it, you know it's a solid road. So it's been a good day, and I had a lot of good help today, including Caden. Caden worked his butt off today, helping us out, and he's learned a lot, didn't you? Yeah. All right, guys, well, we've got a footer, and that feels like a major hurdle. Now, Ed's gonna come back next week and lay the block, so I gotta get some block ordered. And Caden's throwing water bottles at me. We'll get some block ordered and get it hauled in here, and we'll have a foundation. This is a major hurdle, and I'm excited about it. Everybody did a great job today. Everybody worked real hard. Caden was a big help. He ran the camera some, but he did a lot of the same work that we all were doing, and he did a good job of it, working like a man.
And now I'm tired.
Yeah. So guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. We appreciate y'all watching. Until next time, we get outside and enjoy God's creation because it's beautiful out here. Y'all have a good day.